Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, our weekly update of the latest activity at the state legislature and how much do major sporting events like the Super Bowl impact the Valley's economy. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Each week we get an update of the latest goings-on at the state legislature, and tonight we welcome Ben Giles of the Arizona Capital-Times for the latest. Ben, good to see you again. It sounds like there's a possibility of a quick session this time. Is that accurate?
It could be. That's the hot rumor at the Capitol this week, is that there seems to have been a slow trickle of bills coming in so far. The deadline for bills to be introduced in the Senate is Monday, February 2nd. The deadline in the House is February 9th. And perhaps maybe just by the collective will of the legislature, they want to get out of there pretty quickly.
Well, and it sounds as though, again, you can want to get out of there, but if you got some speed bumps to that budget, you're not going anywhere. And the speed bumps don't look like they're showing up. No,
everybody seems to be, at least in the Republican majority, along with the governor's office, working maybe literally hand in hand and trying to get this budget done. Since the governor introduced his budget, he had a press conference with Speaker Gowan and Senate President Biggs to announce how everyone was on the same page and how everyone has the same goals. And I've heard this repeatedly from Biggs since the governor's budget was introduced, that we do have the same goal. We want to balance the budget this year without any tax increases, and we want a structurally balanced budget by fiscal 2017. Maybe they have different ideas for how to get there, but I think at the very least, it's almost a relief for Biggs to be working with a governor that he sees eye to eye with.
I was going to say, compare now to what we saw with Governor Brewer in past sessions.
Biggs just told me this afternoon, it is a different atmosphere. It is a different environment when he goes in to meet with the House and meet with the governor's staff and talk about ways we can shape the budget this year. He almost looks giddy about it. And now Gowan's a new speaker, but he was in the majority leadership last year in the House, so I imagine he probably has a different view on how the relationship with the governor has changed this year.
As far as the budget is concerned, the inflation funding lawsuit, which we'll talk about in a second here because it sounds like talks have begun at least, but that is still out there, and there doesn't seem to be a contingency. I mean, it's all fine and dandy right now, but you still have that hanging over your head, don't you?
Yeah, and people have been hesitant to talk about that now that negotiations have opened up, because there is a gag order on those negotiations. But I think the one thing people have to remember is you can have a contingency plan, but also for this year in crafting a fiscal 16 budget, you also have to just live in the reality of the moment. And that is right now that there are these decisions forthcoming, but we don't know how much the judge is going to order the state cough up for this K through 12 funding. So it is in some ways fair for the governor's budget to not consider all of the endless realm of possibilities that might entail, and just deal with what is happening right now. What do we know we're going to have to spend? And let's just focus on that as we have this gaping $500 million budget deficit.
Yeah, I mean, the court's already said you owe $330 million this year. Now, obviously, and let's get to these talks. These are mediated talks, and they're voluntary talks, and we don't know anything about the talks, but they're talking.
And we won't know anything about the talks because, as I just said, there's a pretty restrictive gag order, and we were trying to discuss this with lawmakers at the Capitol this week, and they're all pretty adamant that, no, I'd rather not spend the weekend in jail. I'd much rather be at home than watch the big game. So I guess the positive here is that, as you said, the mediation is voluntary, so maybe it is a positive sign that everybody's at least willing to sit down at a table and talk about it. But it is hard to say what's going to come of this, and as we were just saying, how it's going to impact Arizona's budget going forward.
Any sense of a timetable involved?
No idea.
Yeah. As far as, real quickly, as far as the legislature in a quick session, you say not too many bills have been dropped. Do you think the Super Bowl and all the attention, Super Bowl, Phoenix Open, Tiger Woods, the whole 9 yards, is that kind of dampening some of the enthusiasm for bills at the Capitol?
And that's the rumor that seems to have taken on a life of its own at the Capitol this week and really ever since the first day of session. A part of what fueled that, I think, was the governor in his inaugural address, in his speech to the business community at a chamber luncheon, trying to get them to focus on the budget and reminding them that the spotlight is going to be on Arizona with the Super Bowl in town, with the Phoenix Open in town, reminding them that maybe, and maybe the implication there, what wasn't said, was that it might not be the best idea to introduce some controversial bills like the SB 1062 of last year that drew all this national media attention anyway. When the media is already here, maybe we shouldn't be bringing up that type of legislation. But what we've also heard, and maybe this is just a coalescing of a number of reasons for why this is happening, but it might not be the Super Bowl, it might just be a quick session because there's fatigue.
Yeah.
That the last 2 years were knockdown, drag-out fights about either anti-gay legislation or religious freedom legislation, depending on how you call it, or Medicaid expansion in 2013. There's fatigue from all that and all those fights, and also it was just an election year, and people are tired after that too. So maybe they really do just want to get through the budget and get the heck out of Phoenix as fast as they can.
Well, before you get the heck out of here, real quickly, House Republicans have gone ahead and decided to hold secret caucus meetings, but only under special circumstances. Am I getting this right?
Right. Under a split vote to change the rules of the House, they now are allowed to close caucuses. They're not going to do it all the time, they say, but under, as you said, special circumstances, which they didn't give any examples of what that might be. But I think basically what they're thinking ahead to is sensitive topics that maybe they feel like they could talk more openly about without lobbyists, the public, the media there listening to them. But it is an unprecedented rule change, and it's something that only happened in the House and something that Democrats were terribly unhappy about. And I've been told it's not something the Senate plans to replicate.
All right. Good stuff, Ben. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Expand your horizon with the Arizona Horizon website. To get there, go to azpbs.org. Click on the Arizona Horizon tab at the top of the screen. Once there, you can access many features, watch interviews by clicking on the video button. You can also find out what's on Arizona Horizon for the coming week. If you would like an RSS feed, a podcast, or want to buy a video, that's all on the website too. Want to learn about specific topics like immigration or the legislature? You can visit our special web sections. Show your support for Arizona Horizon at azpbs.org/Arizona Horizon.
In case you hadn't noticed, the Super Bowl is being played this Sunday in Glendale, and with that in mind, Glendale's major sporting events like the Super Bowl, we're trying to figure out how they're often being sold as economic positives for hosts and regions. A study of last time the Super Bowl was here showed the big game responsible for $500 million in direct and indirect spending. Cardinals team president Michael Bidwill expects even more this go-round.
It is the #1 television event in the United States. It is an international television show that's going to be broadcast to 195 different countries in 26 different languages. We have, this week, the NFL has credentialed 6,000 members of the media to come and cover this. And it's a great opportunity for Arizona to showcase itself. This is just a tremendous platform for us to showcase Arizona, the positive things about Arizona, our beautiful environment that we have, the world-class destination, and the unbelievable economic opportunities that are here in the Phoenix area and throughout the state.
Here now to discuss the impact of the Super Bowl on the Valley and state economies are Dennis Hoffman, an economist with the W.P. Carey School of Business at ASU, Jim Rounds, an economist with Elliott D. Pollock and Company, and economist Byron Schlomock of the Goldwater Institute. Good to have you all here. Thanks for joining us. All right, Super Bowl, let me just throw this out here. Super Bowl is an economic positive for the region. Yay or nay?
Yes.
Explain.
The numbers that Mr. Bidwell quoted, the numbers that Mr. Bidwell quoted come from a very careful study done by a group at W.P. Carey. It's not dreamed up data. It's carefully surveyed, carefully counted data. The expenditures that take place by all of these people for the better part of a week or more in the state are absolutely huge. So we carefully tabulate them. We use state-of-the-art economic models then to measure indirect effects, and they're very, very real numbers. If I can say, critics, when they talk about overblown or high estimates for events like this, they're really talking, Ted, about time and place, really. It's all about geography. So the argument is a big event like this crowds out other economic activities. And I would argue that in a venue like Phoenix, what it does is it may postpone some of those other activities. It doesn't completely displace them. Now, if I narrow myself to just this week, absolutely Super Bowl crowds out some activities this week, but I think that would be foolish to do. Folks will come next week or next month.
Net positive for the Valley and the region, or when you add all things together, not so much?
It's still a net positive. So the economic impact, about $500 million, is right. That's what a lot of estimates from other Super Bowls, it's always in that range. Tax revenues from the event are usually about 1/10 the economic activity. So you're looking at $45 to $50 million. But I think a lot of it has to do with what do you do with it and what does it cost to get the event. So let's say we have to pay the NFL $30 million. There's additional expenses that are incurred. Some are advancing infrastructure investment that we're going to have to put in anyway. Some might be specific to the event. But if we're still bringing in more money than we're giving out in return, really is this any different than an economic development type project? So it's still a net positive, at least if you look at the math. But we first have to decide, do we want to be involved in these types of things, just like the economic development discussions that we've had. And then we have to make sure that we're not giving away more than we're getting in return. But at least based on our calculations, still a net positive.
Byron, are we giving away more than we're getting?
I think it's close. I think the numbers, first of all, think about the $500 million that people talk about from the last Super Bowl, or maybe it'll be around $600 million this time. Let's put that in perspective. That's about 1/4% of the GDP in Phoenix, Mesa, Glendale. So just the Phoenix Valley. So it's not as if you're going to expect a huge economic bump for the Phoenix Valley. Part of the problem is when we talk about the crowding out issue is the seen and the unseen. I think Dennis is correct to a certain extent about the timing issue. I can tell you, living near the Super Bowl, that I'm avoiding certain places, and so that doesn't mean I will never shop there again. But I can also tell you that we spent a lot of money on infrastructure around there, resurfacing streets, adding ramps to 101, and there was a lot of disruption that occurred from that. My issue is, though, that the economic activity that is avoided, for instance, maybe there's a convention that doesn't come here and they go to Las Vegas or something because they're avoiding the Super Bowl, and that's when their calendar, when it works for them. That sort of thing, it ameliorates some of the positives that we've been measuring from this.
Let me talk about things that are not captured by the 500 or 600 million. Because I think one could argue that the benefits extend far beyond just this bean counting that we we do a lot of bean counting in our businesses. I think the exposure that events like this can bring, the opportunity to bring hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of corporate clients to this area, to see this area, is a very, very positive effect, especially in an era where we're downsizing expenditures on travel and tourism. You and I, when we last were on here, we talked about promoting Arizona. This is free promotion by and large. I'm on the radio in Boston tomorrow morning. I'm sorry, but next week they're not going to call me, just out of the blue to be on the radio in Boston. And WP Carey and ASU will be the part of that message tomorrow.
Byron, can you not say that without the Super Bowl, the Phoenix Open, you name it, the big sporting event, people back in New England right now who can't even get out of their house are not. Maybe we should try Phoenix. Maybe. Do you think a business might consider relocating here because of what they see?
I'm not so sure. I think there might be some effects like that. I think people are figuring out that Arizona is a warm climate during this time of the year, regardless of whether we're having the Super Bowl here or not. I think the bigger picture we have to think about is whether or not it's worthwhile to tax car rentals and hotel rooms for the sake of a big stadium so that we can have an occasional Super Bowl weekend.
Without the big stadium, you don't have the Super Bowl weekend.
Right, and so a couple of things were discussed, and Dennis brought up some of these intangibles, and you actually can put some numbers to the intangibles. So let's say with everybody that's out there promoting the state over this 2-week period, that we lure one company that has 100 decently paid workers. That's an extra $1 million in tax revenue. Do you think that we might be able to get 10 times that amount? You'll get different opinions from different people, but you can actually see the economic benefits of if we expand our employment base. But it gets back to, are we doing a good job promoting the state while everybody's here, or is everybody just going around having drinks at parties and they're not interested in coming back? So to me, it gets to, are we doing a good job with the marketing while, I don't want to say we have free advertising, but there's additional advertising on the area that we normally wouldn't get. And are we taking full advantage of that? And then we also brought up that displacement of some of the visitors. So some visitors aren't going to come back. Some of them might come back the following month. But then how many of the visitors to the Super Bowl are also going to want to come back in later months? And it's difficult to put numbers to those, but if you try to look at these at the margin, can you believe that, hey, marginally some additional visitors are going to come. Marginally we might get a couple of businesses to locate here. And those numbers can add up, but it all gets back to, are we going to end up giving away eventually more than we're getting in return? I don't think we are right now, but what if the cost of the Super Bowl to the NFL goes from 30 to 50 million?
Right. And let me piggyback with some comments that Byron's making. We don't always agree on everything, right, Byron? But I think in this particular case, he's making some points. So if you're a city out there thinking about, hey, I want to go in the Super Bowl business, or think about Glendale, Arizona. Glendale is challenged because they have the venue, they have a number of the costs, and much of the benefit of this particular activity is accruing to the East Valley. So I think personally, I haven't been here 36 years, and then seeing the way that stadium location deal got done back in the late 90s and thinking about the way it was financed, I think it could have been done much more efficiently. Certainly, maybe we should have rethought that.
It would have been most efficient if it had been privately funded. And there are such things as stadiums that are privately funded.
But again, would it have been done if it were privately funded?
And we can't redo that. We can't redo that. We're stuck in a situation where the costs are sunk. There are sunk costs here.
But there are
what
issues
are you going to
for
do?
the future. We have the Arizona Sports and Tourism Authority that is still collecting taxes. They're helping to promote the Cactus League, for example. Goodyear is out there with financial troubles because of their Cactus League stadium. This is an ongoing issue here in Arizona.
It's largely an allocation issue. Their dollars come in, and spring training dollars are absolutely huge for this valley. They come into the valley, and where I would agree with you is they don't always get redistributed back to the cities and the localities that are bearing all of the expenses. So you got this mismatch between benefits
I
and
would
costs.
simply say that, economic studies have been done regarding stadiums, and the findings have been, one economist studied 32 different cities. He found that in 30 cities there was no effect that you could discern from having a stadium on people's incomes. In another city, he found a positive effect. In another city, he found a negative effect. When you look at these sports venues around the world in other situations, for example, Sydney and China with the Olympics and such, at best, you can say they had very temporary positives. And in fact, in China during the Olympics, they didn't have any more travel to China than they did at any other time of the year because of the crowding out effect. So,
How do you measure that kind of a thing? Whereas, Joe and Jane Smith from the Midwest come out and they want to go to the Grand Canyon and go to Sedona, as opposed to a Joe football fan from New England or Seattle comes out and all he wants to do is go drink beer and have a party or two.
Well, the football fan is going to spend a lot more money. And so you have to look at the finely tuned numbers. You have to look at, is that person that's getting displaced going to come back? Because that person that's here this week is spending a whole lot more than the normal visitor. But we don't know who's going to be more likely to come back. And this gets back to people doing the job that they're assigned to do. If they are doing a good job promoting the area during this opportunity where CEOs are coming to us, we're not having to fly across the country to them, and we can sell the best that Arizona has to offer, then maybe there could be some economic benefits. But you have to go through, and I agree with everything that's been said, but you have to make a couple of decisions. And this is the same with sports economics or economic development. You first have to say, ideally, this might not be the ideal situation to have publicly funded a lot of these things that we talked about. But if we live in a world that has these, do we want to be a player or do we not want to be a player? If it's a world where they have publicly funded stadiums to some extent, we made that decision to go ahead and do that. So how do we maximize the return on that investment? But to me, it gets back to, are we getting a positive return on the investment? And as long as the people are doing what I've been hearing they're doing this time, heavy focus on return visitors later, heavy focus on the business connections, then I think that we'll still have positive benefits even when we look back at it afterwards and tabulate some of the numbers.
Can it be argued that it's harder, it would be hard to attract a better demographic than what's coming out here for this Super Bowl?
I don't know that that's true. I think what we need to do is attract long-term economic growth and
Absolutely.
prosperity.
Absolutely.
And I see this as a one-time benefit. And we're getting this one-time benefit, yes, with a stadium that we've spent a huge amount of money on. We've increased the cost of tourism to our state, and that matters with the taxes.
People
on
move
hotels
capital.
and rental
People
cars.
will move capital when they see opportunity, when they can envision themselves doing business, living in a particular area.
And people haven't seen a whole bunch of opportunity around that stadium. I know there are a lot
I'm
of
talking
empty
about the
fields.
geography of Glendale, Arizona. I'm talking about Phoenix and Arizona, the entire
the
state.
evidence is that
and when you
stadiums
get
make you happy,
tens
not
of
rich.
tens of millions of eyes on this valley, on this state, throughout this week and on Sunday, I think it is undeniable that it is has huge potential in corporate America to get jobs moving here, to get businesses moving here. You've got to see it. You've got to experience this place before you fall in love with it.
Would the Valley be better off if we had said no and all this Super Bowl hubbub were not going on?
Well, I wouldn't say certainly at this point no to Super Bowl.
Because of the sunk cost
Because
issue.
of the sunk cost,
Right,
yes. I mean, I'm looking at this down the road. What happens when the Cardinals threaten to move and we have to build them an even bigger stadium with more high-tech stuff? And that's already happening in some cities.
Real quick, we got about a minute left. If the Cardinals do say this, I'm tired of Glendale, I want to move to Phoenix, Scottsdale, Tempe, I may move to Los Angeles, whatever. Is it worth it when you have this going on for these couple of weeks?
Well, what's their record that year?
I know what the average could work out to be. But
Right now, the economic benefits, in my opinion, still outweigh the costs, but that can change over time. So as of right now, I still think we're getting a net benefit, but down the road, we'll still have to evaluate these things and make sure we're not paying too much for the Super Bowl coming
Absolutely,
here.
and there's plenty of records. Some cities say no, and teams move on. I mean, that does happen. So folks can make choices.
That's likely
at
to
that
happen
point.
increasingly because some of these deals are real. I mean, we're giving away services to billionaires. They're demanding free services. Oh my gosh.
All right, well, the OMG will end the conversation. Good to have you all here. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Ted.
Thursday on Arizona Horizon, former Ambassador Kurt Volker makes his regular appearance to discuss foreign affairs, and we'll talk about how and why the Valley is able to grab so many mega sporting events. That's Thursday evening at 5:30 and 10 right here on Arizona Horizon. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.